Mac Jones had by far the most team success out of any rookie quarterback in his class. He was labeled as the most NFL-ready quarterback heading into the draft, and he not only lived up, but only seeded to exceed people's expectations. In this series, we've gone through Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Trevor Lawrence, and from those, we understand that context is everything. How much of it had to do with Mac Jones's talent, how much of it had to do with being in a much better situation, and have the Patriots actually found their next franchise quarterback. So in today's video, we are going to break down the truth and cover every aspect of Mac Jones's rookie year and try and figure out what we can actually take away from it. We are going to be looking at a lot of film as well, because in the end of the day, the play on the field is going to be the most important thing. So we need to see where his strengths and where his weaknesses are. There's obviously a lot to cover, so let's get into it. And the story of Mac Jones started before he even took the field. Up until the day of the draft, he was a heavy favorite to go 3rd overall and be the next quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. That is until it ended up being Trey Lance, and then we waited. And even then, I don't think anyone would have guessed that he would have fallen all the way to 15 right into the lap of Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. And even though 14 teams had the opportunity to not allow this to happen, all 31 teams besides the Patriots obviously immediately thought, how did we let this happen? They just dominated the league with a super smart, ultra competitive quarterback with underwhelming athleticism for 20 years, and they just got his 23-year-old doppelganger, or so that's what everyone started thinking. And now it still wasn't clear what the path was for Mac, because even at this time the Patriots had Cam Newton, who was widely thought that Cam would lead this team until mid-season or maybe even the whole season, so Mac could take a backseat and learn. And in the preseason, even though Mac was playing really well, so was Cam Newton, until out of nowhere, the Patriots released former MVP quarterback Cam Newton, and now we're all in on Mac Jones. Obviously, we don't get to see every practice and how they interact with the team, which we'll cover later, because after the Pro Bowl, I think it should be mandatory for Mac Jones to be mic'd up every single game. This is where we get into our first part of the film analysis, because even though Mac Jones was indeed a rookie, it's still very accepted that we should allow them to make rookie mistakes. But we saw a very veteran and polished Mac Jones from early on in the season. And in these plays, to the naked eye, it might not look that much, or the play themselves might not even seem that spectacular, but it's all the little things that make a quarterback amazing, and it usually comes with a lot of time being in the league, but let me show you what I mean. And this is going to be the bulk of our film analysis. We're going to try and get through these plays quickly, but what I want to show is what Mac Jones did to separate himself, and it's all the little things that break the tendencies of what we see a lot in college quarterbacks and what we see in rookie quarterbacks in the NFL that they learned with time being in the league, and what Mac Jones was able to do to look like a veteran and polished quarterback. So let's start out with this Week 4 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And on this play, they're going to scheme up a really nice blitz to get a linebacker on a running back. Running back misses his assignment, so now we have a free rusher. And what do we do here? And what we might see from college quarterbacks or rookie quarterbacks is it's time to scramble. It's time to get out of here, panic, get out of the pocket. The creative play isn't going to be there. But what we see from Mac Jones is so special. And this is what people have been drilling since middle school, since high school. Don't panic, keep your eyes downfield, and make the micro pocket adjustments that you need to. I mean, if you're a quarterback, you step over the bag, keep your eyes downfield, reset, and laser over middle of the field. And this is what you get from being a very coachable guy with Nick Saban, with Bill Belichick. When things break down, pressure's in your face, it's not time to panic. Trust your training, trust the drill work we do week in and week out in practice, and make a great throw down the field. And on this next play, there's actually a lot to love on this play right here. So pre-snap, this is what Mac Jones wants. He wants this tight end on a seam route right here. And when you have one single high safety, if this guy makes a play on the ball, that is going to be on the quarterback. Because as a quarterback, it's going to be up to you to manipulate him with your eyes and take him away for where you actually want to go with the ball. So we're going to have a play action on this. And then as soon as we get out of the counter play action, Mac Jones is going to be immediately looking to the right side of the field, drawing the safety over, but he knows he wants to come back to the scene. So as he comes back to it, this is the next thing I love on it, because he wants to go here, but this is going to be a very tight window, and the corner's in really good coverage in this nickel corner. And what you want to do is when you see a tight window, window, you're going to want to just rope it in there. But this allows the corner right now to get under it, undercut it, and possibly even get an interception on this play. So if he doesn't do the eye manipulation with the safety who's open field turn into the right side of the field, and he lasers it in, but what he's able to do is since he manipulated the safety, he made the window bigger, and he's going to put a lot of touch on this ball so the corner can't get underneath it, but not too much touch on the ball, but so the safety can get over the top and help, but puts just enough touch on the ball so his tight end doesn't end up in a hospital. A beautiful touchdown on this play. But it's also being aware when you don't have this luxury. On this play, New England's right tackle is going to get beat almost immediately. So what is so important is having your pre-snap read and knowing what you might do with the ball if things break down immediately. No panic. Go out there and make a great throw. So on the snap of the ball, Mac Jones is going to take his 3-step drop, but on his second step of the drop, there is pressure in his face immediately. And this is what we see a lot of college quarterbacks do. You're going to either like reverse pivot, try and get out of there. He's going to reverse pivot right into the left end, and it's going to be a sack. But what Mac Jones does is not only does he not take a sack on this play or try and scramble and do too much with it, he trusts his pre-snap read. He sees he has one-on-one coverage at the bottom of the field, and with pressure in his face, off his back foot, lets his receiver Kendrick Bourne go up and get it. Let your players go make a play and turn something out of nothing when your offensive line fails you. And we're really going to be splitting hairs on these next two plays here, because what we see from college quarterbacks and rookie quarterbacks is we want them to see the field as long as possible, because defenses can be so complex and confusing in the NFL with all their rotations, how they disguise blitzes and coverages so well. But what they trust Mac Jones in so much is they have this counter game, but to open up the counter game, you need counter play actions. But this entire time right here, Mac Jones is selling this. The defense could be doing whatever. This puts a lot of trust in your rookie quarterback to be able to read the field post snap, to set up your play action game, and to set up your run game when you're a very good rushing team. So to not put him in gun, to trust him under center, to take his eyes off the defense for a good couple seconds. And we see this a lot where he even does 2 play action fakes on this, and when he turns around, the defense could have a complete screamer of a blitz coming in or being a complete different coverage from what he read post snap. But to be able to trust Mac Jones to read the defense after the ball is snapped is something that shows a lot of trust that they have in him. And again, just making it look easy like a veteran quarterback would, not eyeing down who you want to go. This time with eye manipulation with the middle linebacker, get him drifting the way away from where you really want to go with the ball. And the windows are super tight. The defense is super aggressive in the red zone. But to be able to make this look so easy as a rookie can't go understated. And I know this might be different than a film analysis you're used to seeing with all these insane plays, but it's just the winning football that I think really needs to be pointed out when we're covering Mac Jones. So they're going to motion into bunch here. We're going to have a stick route. This tight end's going to go in the flats. And Kendrick Bourne is the only receiver that's going to go past the sticks on this over/dig route. And it is 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. And so a lot of rookie quarterbacks, a lot of college quarterbacks would think, okay, this is going to be the only read because it's the only thing that's going to get us past the sticks. Mac Jones doesn't see it this way. That's not what he's taught. He's had 2 great coaches. He's going to see that the dig route isn't going to be there. So he trusts his pre-snap read, gets it to the top of the screen on this curl route, get his receiver a chance to go make a play on one-on-one. Unfortunately, he does not. And so on the stat sheet, this is going to show up as a 5-yard pass. So why did I include this in the film analysis? Why? Because we're up 4 points against a really good opponent, and what he didn't do is he didn't put the ball in harm's way. He didn't hold on to the ball too long and take a sack and make it a harder field goal. He made the right read, let his receiver go out there and try and make a play, and even though it didn't happen, set ourselves up for an even easier field goal to go up 7, and that is good winning football. And this is what a lot of rookie quarterbacks are lacking, as they would have probably tried to make that dig work, or if they weren't going to pick up the first down, try and scramble, and that's when bad things can happen. And it's all the little things that matter the most, and this is what you get with having Nick Saban as the GOAT college football coach, and then right into Bill Belichick, the GOAT NFL coach, and having a very coachable personality and willing to put in the work. So he isn't a gunslinger by any means. He picks his spots and will always take the check down, and even though this can be labeled as boring, it is the proven Patriot method of success. And I'm not going to show you the millions and millions of screens, checkdowns, tight end option routes, even though they're a huge part part of the game, I'm sure you guys can all imagine what I'm saying. But these are what you start to see this type of plays that affect the game is in the stat sheet and in the wins and loss column, where he completed a very impressive 67.6% of his passes, threw for over 3,800 yards, and had 22 touchdowns to only 13 interceptions. Now, 22 touchdowns doesn't really seem like anything to drool over, but it is important to note the difference between offensive schemes of teams that throw the ball once you get into the deep red zone or within the 5 or 10 yard line, or the teams that run it, because this is important given the context that the Patriots had the second most rushing touchdowns in the league with 24, only one behind the Eagles. But he can make all the deep throws as well, and he does not have a noodle arm for any people that still believe this. Let me show you a few plays. So no, Mac Jones does not have a noodle arm. He can make any called play out there on the field, which means he can throw every route in the route tree. He doesn't struggle throwing it outside the numbers. He doesn't have a hard time with go balls or post corners, corner posts, anything like that. He can make the calls. Now, is he a Josh Allen, an Aaron Rodgers, a Patrick Mahomes, a Justin Herbert? When the play breaks down, you're going to go out and scramble. You see a guy 70 yards down the field and you can throw it on your back foot, crossbody. No, he's not going to be able to do that. But what he does do is he has great anticipation, he has great pocket mobility, and what he does is he can throw accurately down the field, as we see that example right here against the Browns. Puts it perfectly where him and only his receiver can get it. So he is not lacking in deep ball accuracy, anticipation, and arm talent when it calls to what you can call out there on the field. So after watching the first two film analysis, we can see, yes, he's a very talented thrower of the football, but now we need to get into the biggest knock on Mac Jones. Leaning into the run game, he threw the ball 3 times and won against the Buffalo Bills. Now, to me, I do not see this as a negative. If anything, it's an incredible positive. Does this prove that they can win without him? Sure, obviously it does, but it doesn't take away from who he is as a player and the first 2 film sessions we've already seen from him. If anything, it should get the Patriots fans that more exciting that you have this amazing rushing football team and you've added a very good quarterback on top of that. I love Jimmy G, but even he is a limited quarterback throwing the ball. That's why they go out and spend all these picks to get a guy like Trey Lance, and the same reason the Rams dumped all those picks to get Stafford to replace Jared Goff. However, Mac Jones can make every single throw on the route tree, and you see what it takes to win in the NFL now. You can't just have a quarterback go out there and win you a Super Bowl single-handedly, and it's going to be near impossible now if you have every single position solid, but you don't have a quarterback. This does play into something that we need to talk about and something that I alluded to earlier, but the context of this means everything. Not only does he have a great coach and a really good running game, but he had a top offensive line in the league and a really good defense, something we can't say for these other rookie quarterbacks. So would Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson all look better if they were on the Patriots? Well, duh, of course they would, but to me, this is more of the context for their story and what their front offices need to do to allow them to be successful, and this is what I broke down in all of their rookie sessions. And it is not a negative for Mac Jones like a lot of people might want to see it. We know the saying, you can only play who's in front of you. Well, you can only do with what you're given, and Mac Jones was given a lot. But he did a lot with it, even exceeding the expectations what he was supposed to do with it. If he underperformed and didn't look much better than his peers in the rookie class with a lot more talent around him, then I would be saying this is a negative. And that's something I know a lot of people are talking about, so I hope that clears it up. But even with all the talent around Mac Jones, it's hard to see that he didn't have the elite weapons at receiver like a lot of other top quarterbacks in the league. Hopefully this Devontae Parker can stay healthy, because he is a beast when he's healthy, and I love this pickup for the Patriots. Unfortunately, this is a big knock on his game because availability is everything. It doesn't matter how amazing you are if you're not on the field at all. And they might even go out and still get one in the draft. I would love to see the Patriots get a wideout in one of the first 2 rounds. They still have their 2 really good tight ends, but their division is only getting harder by the day, and they'll need to get the weapons to match their rivals. But this takes us to the next portion of this video. Let's talk about when quarterbacks have one really good year. 2 things happen. 1, the defense gets more film on you and it starts to expose your weaknesses, Or 2, the quarterback gets more film on the defenses and they get to watch themselves and see what they need to fix and just gain more knowledge of the game. I absolutely believe that Mac Jones is on the latter part of this group, and he is only going to benefit with being in the league for longer because I think his understanding of defenses will outgrow defenses trying to learn what he's trying to do. I say this because so much of this game is being smart and not having super strong tendencies. He will sit back, check into the right play, and attack the areas of the field where defenses are leaving to try and gain an advantage somewhere else. The more versatile you can be, the less predictable you become, and the more difficult situations you put the defense in. And now we can get into the last portion of our video. It is super important what you do on the field, but I want to wrap up with talking about what I alluded to earlier, that it should be mandatory to make Mac Jones mic'd up for every game because he is quickly becoming one of the most likable quarterbacks in the league. Seeing him mic'd up makes it nearly impossible not to like who he is as a person, and this is super important when it comes to building a winning culture. And even though we didn't get to see it until about 20 years later when it comes to the internet or all these documentaries coming out, I don't think anyone saw the behind the scenes and gave Brady enough credit for how likable and how amazing of a teammate he truly is. Seeing Mac Jones, I love who he is as a person. I love him even more on the field, but I hope this puts Mac Jones's rookie year into a full perspective and getting really technical about what makes him so good and why I think the Patriots have indeed found their quarterback of the future. And to be clear, this is a Mac Jones specific video. We can do a full Patriots team breakdown coming in very soon, but let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you think I left anything out. Make sure to like this video if you like videos like these. Make sure to comment down below what you think about Mac Jones and his rookie year, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. I really do appreciate all the support recently, and as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Peace!